I bought a storage unit for $50 and found cases of cash and fake passports. The auction was one of those depressing Saturday morning affairs where people bid on strangers' abandoned lives. I wasn't looking for treasure, just cheap furniture for my first apartment after the divorce. Unit 47B looked promising from the doorway. A few boxes, what looked like a dresser, maybe some kitchen stuff. The auctioneer rattled off his spiel about buying sight unseen. All sales final. I raised my hand at $50 mostly because no one else seemed interested. The lock snapped off easily enough, but when I rolled up that metal door, my stomach dropped. This wasn't someone's forgotten storage. This was someone's escape plan. 3 black duffel bags lined the back wall, each stuffed with bundled hundreds. I counted nearly $40,000 before my hands started shaking. Underneath the money were manila envelopes containing passports, dozens of them, all with the same face but different names: Randolph Chen, Marcus Williams, David Santos. The photos showed a man in his 50s with kind eyes and graying temples. A laptop sat beside the bags, password protected. But tucked underneath was a handwritten journal that made everything clear. The entries started 3 years ago. Clean, careful handwriting documenting a nightmare I couldn't have imagined. The man, his real name was Thomas, worked as an accountant for what he thought was a legitimate consulting firm. Then he discovered the books he was keeping tracked human trafficking routes. His boss, Vincent, made it clear that leaving wasn't an option. Thomas had seen too much, knew too many names. So Thomas started planning. Every entry detailed his preparations: fake identities, cash withdrawals, small enough to avoid detection, safe houses across the country. The final entry was dated 6 months ago. Vincent suspects something. Moving up timeline. If something happens to me, I hope whoever finds this understands I tried to do the right thing. My hands were trembling as I read the last line. The flash drive taped under the laptop contains everything the FBI needs. Vincent's operation, the client lists, the routes. I just pray I live long enough to deliver it. I found the drive exactly where he said it would be. That afternoon, I sat in my car outside the FBI field office, holding evidence that could destroy an entire trafficking network. But I kept thinking about Thomas. Where was he now? Had Vincent found him first? When Agent Rodriguez reviewed the contents, her face went pale. "This is massive," she said. "Where did you get this?" I explained about the storage unit. She made several calls, then looked at me grimly. Thomas Brennan was found dead 2 weeks after his last journal entry. Apparent suicide in a motel room. But with this evidence, 6 months later, Vincent and 12 others were arrested in coordinated raids across 4 states. The news called it the largest trafficking bust in regional history. Thomas's information saved dozens of victims and shut down routes that had operated for years. The FBI let me keep the money after confirming it was Thomas's legitimate savings, not trafficking profits. I used it to start a foundation in his name, supporting survivors and funding investigations. Sometimes I think about the cosmic coincidence that led me to that storage unit. Of all the people who could have bid that day, it was someone who would actually follow through. Thomas had bet everything on finding the right person. He won. The foundation now operates in 6 states. Every case we help solve, I whisper his name. Heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they're just accountants with moral courage and a storage unit full of hope.